Paraguay, something's happened there.
Again, you have another left-leaning person that's been elected president,
Yes.
Lugo, who comes from a sort of a liberation theology background, who has, again, sort of left-leaning, ties with the trade unions, tried with the sort of, progressive social movements and so on in the country. So
yes. Now
we'll see how that goes. Yeah, he was a priest.
He was a priest who did a lot of work.
Yep, in
with
the grassroots.
Social work with the grassroots population, and
that's
then decided to run for president. So then he left the priesthood, didn't he?
Yep, left. Yep, yeah, I think you have to.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess
to run for.
I guess.
think yeah, and won again. Part of this
won.
wave. So we're not talking about the Venezuelan Revolution. We're
No.
not talking about the Bolivian Revolution or the Ecuadorian. We're talking about the Latin American Revolution.
Yes.
And the implications that has ultimately here in the United States.
Right.
Because revolutions don't respect borders, as we know. Revolutions, ideas, you can't stop an idea with a border wall. You can't stop the needs of millions and millions of people with a border wall or with ICE raids or anything like that. And that also is part of why they're attacking the immigrant workers movement so much here, is because they're worried about that. It's a transmission belt for the Latin American Revolution right into the heart of the United States, right in the middle of a major, major economic crisis right here, which is having terrible effects on Latin America.
Right.
So.
And let's see, Argentina.
Well, Argentina is another very interesting situation where about 8 years ago now, there was a revolutionary movement. I think they had 5 different presidents in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
They overthrew all these people. The whole country collapsed economically in kind of like Enron.
Oh, yes,
kind of like Bear Stearns or Lehman Brothers,
And it was because of the corporate control and the...
Because of the IMF and the World Bank and all that. And so, of course, Argentina traditionally had been a little bit more well-off country in terms of Latin America. In fact, I think in the 1940s or 50s, it was the 10th largest power in the world, 10th largest economy. They had done pretty well supplying grain and leather and meat and stuff during World War II. I think they kind of built up their industries and economy then. And so people were used to a bit higher quality of life. And if there's one country in Latin America where people would sort of discount any possibility of a revolution, it would have been Argentina. Buenos Aires is a very cosmopolitan, very European city. The people are, higher education level than lots of other countries, which are much more poor. And so people would have said, no, there could never be a revolution there. And yet, sure enough, that's what happened. And now, as part of that process, you had the election of Nestor Kirchner as the president, and now his wife, Cristina Kirchner, is the new president. And,
really?
And
this is a democratically elected...
These are democratically elected. But I would say, in my opinion, that the role that the Kirchners, both of them have played, has been to try and sort of stave off that movement on the streets and try and keep it under control within Parliament, within the the safe bounds of the legislature and the presidency and so on. But it's far from over. I mean, it's not over. Argentina, the people of, the thing is about this, all these experiences have an effect on people's consciousness. People are learning through their own experience that the system isn't working so well, that their trade unions are under attack, that inflation means that their wages are worth far less than they used to be. And that's exactly the same kind of thing that's happening here in this country. And a lot of people in Latin America are very optimistic, actually, about the prospects for a revolution here.
I thought of that. I did. When we started crashing, I started thinking about South America and how everybody's going,
Well, and because a lot of people understand the potential of the American working class to draw the same conclusions that they're starting to draw in their own countries, and to realize that ultimately we're all very similar. Working people in one country or another, whether you speak Spanish or Portuguese or English or French or whatever, we have the same interests, and we have the same concerns, we have the same ways of organizing, we have the same goals ultimately. and that's what's bringing people together. I mean, we talk about a globalized economy a lot, right?
Yeah.
But we also are now seeing that you have a globalized economic crisis as a result of that.
Right.
And what that's going to bring is a global revolution.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, it won't respect borders. And I think that they're pretty scared in one country after another. The people that have traditionally dominated these countries, that have exploited the natural resources, and of course the biggest exploiter of Latin America, which is U.S. imperialism, U.S. capitalists, they're worried. They're worried about what's going on down there.
Yes, they are. And